Welcome to the Energetic Brew monthly gathering. We are here to talk about Taurus season and some of the upcoming energies that are happening. I am Zane McFarlane, a rising Virgo, Sun Pisces, a Capricorn moon, here to bring a little bit more of a earthy, practical look to these transits. And joining me tonight is Rochelle. How are you doing tonight?
I am so good. He brings the earthy, I bring the watery, a little bit of earth and air, being a rising Pisces, a Capricorn sun, and a Libra moon. I was almost going to say a Capricorn moon. Anyway, nonetheless. Oh gosh, we are outside of the Mercury retrograde and my languaging is still coming to me. So I am excited to be here and looking forward to Taurus season, looking forward to being able to share some things. And just as always, so grateful that you're here to co-host with me.
Yes, it's exciting to be here as well and to step into my own leadership and taking the spotlight a little bit more within these gatherings that we have, which kind of fits in place a little bit with talking about the Leo energy or the Leo energy in Mars as well a little bit later on tonight, where, yeah, Leo's about stepping in. But tonight we are focusing on Taurus season and the piece of building those foundations in a steady, manageable pace and finding that going along. So, with that, I feel like that's our opening sequence there. For those that are new, we're talking about astrology and we're talking about the transits. And they bring in their own flavoring, their own aspects, their own design and perspectives when it comes to astrology. So we may be born underneath one sign, but we have all of them within our birth chart. And we're just here to give you little tidbit pieces of how to work with these energies going forward. And so, without further ado, the sun, Taurus season. Taurus is the fixed earth sign, ruled by Venus. And Taurus is about values, s- stability, and enjoying the pleasures of life. And when the sun moves into Taurus, we are invited to slow down, get grounded, appreciate nature and the beauty that's around us. It's also a good time to focus in the physical world and create that stability within our lives. And as I was saying, the Taurus energy is really that piece of finding the foundation, building it, whether it be career, relationships, finances, and that piece of the earth energy, finding the practical sense within our goals and actions when we look at the long term building of those foundations. And Taurus is about the senses, likes indulging in them and finding the comfort, building comfort. It's also the beauty, enjoying food, art, and the piece of bringing in that Venus energy of, again, the beauty and finding that balance a little bit as well. When you think about Earth, the Earth fixed sign of Taurus, Rochelle, what do you think of? Anything to add to it?
The embodiment of our voice and what our voice can provide to ourselves, to others, being able to speak up and being able to really embody the idea of putting our feet on the ground and getting into the dirt. I also think about, because we're in the northern hemisphere, I think about spring, getting out into the garden, enjoying warmer weather. And again, it's that beautifying, the fragrances in the air, being able to use that sense of smell, being able to embody feeling what the skin feels like in the different air. And then, of course, getting out on the water on my paddleboard. That's what I think about. I think about, yay, the water's getting warmer, and then I can get out and enjoy being out in the outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So again, with the sun moving into Taurus, how we can work with this energy for those that have their astrology chart, when we look at it, we have Taurus sitting in our chart somewhere. And depending on what house it is, the sun kind of lights up that aspect, that area of life. And so we can learn where that area of life is and what to possibly expect a little bit during the actual season that we're moving into. So, those that are new, just a quick overview of the meaning of the houses. So, the first house is about the self and how you show up. The second is money and resources. This is also where Taurus sits naturally. And so it's highlighting the money and resources. So collectively speaking, though that's the energy that Taurus season kind of brings in. For those that have a third house Taurus, this is about communication, short travel, and education. The fourth house is about home, family, foundations again. Fifth is creativity and children. Six is daily routine and hygiene. Seventh is relationships and contracts. Eighth is transformation and shared resources. The ninth is long-term travel and education, sometimes higher education. 10th is career and goals. The 11th is community and friends. And the 12th house is karma and endings. This also can be subconscious as well, a little bit. It's also the other side of the health axis. And with that, do you have anything else to add to Taurus season besides like that piece of really grounding yourself, finding a grounding practice that is really good? With that, is there any good grounding practices for Taurus season that you have to suggest here, Rochelle?
I do. When it comes to Taurus season, and it has a lot to do with our voice, as we just went through, as Zane just was sharing about the different houses and where Taurus is bringing light, life, and vitality to us, helping us to feel activated by that sun. No matter where your chart is getting affected, we can start to hum. We can also start to, what I wanted to bring in was a really interesting practice called figure eights. With my energy medicine mentor students, we diver deeper into them. But for for the time being, what I'm wanting you to feel is that if you were to make a figure eight on your throat, notice which direction feels better for you. So notice, is it as an eight going to the right side of your body first and then going up and then to the left? Or do you want to start to the left and then go to the right and then to come back? Noticing again, because Taurus is about the senses, really allowing yourself to come into what feels best for you. And as you're playing sort of with this, let's give a blessing to the land, and just to call in some space, no matter what land you are bringing your presence to, how you may tend it, just calling in upon the ancestors of the lands, the ones that are the healed ones, and of course, all good elemental practices and connection energy that's there as you're connecting to your own throat, just noticing that what might feel like it's coming up as we call in that connection to the land. And if you have to stop and pause, that it's okay to do so. Noticing your breath, and of course, using this practice outside of this container, outside of this recorded video. Notice too if you set an intention of opening up your voice. There's often a connection to our voice, to our sacral chakra, to how we create and how we put things into this world. And so, as above, so below. Notice how that might feel for you in those two areas. So, again, it's just drawing that figure eight on your own throat. This can do with an intention, bring those intentions to fruition. And even if it's just for like a relaxation, noticing again how you might have throat tightness. I work with a lot of voice people and speakers, and so this figure eight is something that is one of the tools that they'll use before they speak to get that sturdiness and being able to get out the things they need to speak and say. The other part, again, as I mentioned, you can hum or you can sing with this too, again, opening up those vocal cords because that's where Taurus sits in the body, is in the throat. So yeah, we have a lovely audience here, so I think we might pause for a moment, check in with them. There was some information there, and then we will come back. Those of you that are watching the recording, we figured out what we were doing wrong. And we've now fixed it so you can comment. We love to hear feedback and get messages if there's any questions for that. We're going to head over to our live audience and check in with them and to spend some time in community with them. You want to show up live? Of course, there's some show notes down below where you can join the next ones to come. Thanks.
So the energy, next transit we have here chatting about tonight is Mars returning to Leo after its retrograde that it had, where it came back into Cancer. When it's moving back into Leo, April 17th. Mars. Mars is the planet of action, drive, courage, the piece of moving forward. And Leo is the fixed fire sign, symbolized by the lion. This piece of the lion is pride, confidence. Leo's also the piece of spotlight, taken in the spotlight, but it also, for the collective, it's the house of creativity, being creative and being bold, but with a passionate sense to it and being passionate. So, some of these key themes that might come up with Mars moving back into Leo is we can feel an extra sense of bravery, being ready to express ourselves in a different way. This could be a good time to pursue that passion, that creativity, and show off our talents with confidence and confidence. And yeah, that piece of Leo likes to be a leader and lead. And Mars gives it the energy to take charge and bring in that action a little bit more, where we might be finding ourselves stepping into a little bit more of a leadership role within our life and being recognized for the efforts that we're putting in. And much like the house system that we were talking about earlier with the sun, you can bring in that system the exact same way that you would with the sun with Mars. So could be that piece of bringing in more action oriented pieces to self-care and those daily routines. It could be that piece of stepping into your community a little bit more, or that self-care within taking self-personal time. What do you think of when it comes to Mars and Leo a little bit here, Rochelle?
Well, we have fire meets fire. And it's about being bold, being about taking action. Some of us who have hair care happening, a time to tame that mane, but maybe it's time to like grow it out and let it be wild and free, or tending it to the way that we feel like we want to feel good about it, and to love on ourselves in the way that we can stand tall. So looking at posture and keeping our chest wide open. Leo rules the heart and the chest, and because there's this connection to our posture and the openness of our chest, really being able to look at how are those daily rituals and practices for us, and how can they be stepped up a little bit more. Mars has that 2 year cycle. So, think back to about 2 years ago. What were some of the things that you were taking pride in, feeling good about? Is it still there for you, or is it time to renew and revisit and have a different strategic plan? Again, Mars can be known as the fighter, but collectively, could we look at how Mars could be the peacekeeper? That's sort of my thought about it, is like, how can your self-confidence and the role that you are here to be in for the world, for your service, how can you create more peace? That's my intentions for this transit. Back to you, Zane.
Thank you. And yeah, with that piece earlier, with that retrograde piece I was mentioning earlier, it was in Cancer for a little bit, and it's still in Cancer as recording this. And we got a little bit of that taste of it being in Leo, where I don't know if any of you here live or those that are watching the recording here, when it moved in into Leo, this was kind of a little bit on late 2024, so early December, mid-December kind of idea, where it was there, but then it ended up going retrograde, and it retrograded back into Cancer. So we got a little bit of that taste of Leo. And during it, I felt it majorly in my creative aspect of life. That piece of, I also felt really slow within thinking as it resides in my 12th house and that piece of subconscious. And so the dates to look at there to kind of reflect on this retrograde energy is December 7th, and it went direct on the 24th of February. Now we're still in the shadow a little bit, the shadow dates, and the shadow energy is like the little bit of the residue or the energy before the retrograde happens. And that those dates are October 5th of 2000 of 2024 to May 2nd of 2025. And so, yeah, a little bit more on that Leo energy that we maybe could have felt with it before it went retrograde is that strong piece of wanting to step into the spotlight. But soon as it went retrograde, that piece of maybe wanting to withdraw a little bit more and step away from the spotlight, especially with it retrograding back into Cancer. It's a water sign. And most of us know water and fire don't necessarily get along all too well. And so Mars was kind of agitated in that piece of wanting to go forward, but then with the wateriness of Cancer, that piece of really feeling dim and waterlogged. And so that maybe came up in emotional frustration, maybe passive aggressiveness, that piece of feeling misunderstood, maybe a little bit extra moody, and that piece of also being that little bit of that peacekeeper, that warrior piece from Mars, wanting to protect your own energy and your own emotions. And so hardened your shell and really withdrew. But now with it going direct and going forward, we are able to step out of our shell a little bit more as long as we have learned our lessons that we needed to learn during this retrograde. Some of us might be still going through them a little bit. That's why I wanted to bring this up tonight was that piece of there's this powerful piece of being able to step into the spotlight after withdrawing and recollecting ourselves emotionally, physically, spiritually, and being able to bring that out to the collective into our creative arts, our communication. For me, it's been more a little bit towards my business and the business sense of the energetic brew and being able to step into the spotlight a little bit more there. And what about for you, Rochelle? What are you feeling when it comes to this retrograde energy? Since it's a little bit past already, what maybe reflections have you had about it?
Well, again, looking at, being a mom of four, being able to look at how I've been taking action, looking at the cancer as a representation of motherhood, and being able to retract, but then also being able to find ways that I could step in a way, and then noticing how my behavior could was getting agitated, being confused, not quite understanding the needs of all of the individuals, but then at the same time not allowing it to stop me and being able to see the momentum that I needed to do. There's this connection to Mars for me that is really challenging at times because it can be really big energy. And this is speaking from my own personal chart. My heart goes out to anyone who has a Sun and Mars conjunction. Those two together can make a very spicy ingredient in our energetic brew, and being able to want things to come into fruition a little bit faster, understanding that even if time is sort of a linear practice, it's not linearly felt, it's more of a spiral connection, and being able to self-reflect because of that spiciness in my chart, the way it's been kind of rubbed a little bit raw for last quite a few years. We're not talking about Pluto today, but there was definitely Pluto went back and over those degrees for me several times, too many as far as I'm concerned. So having now it coming into my daily house and into my more of my health access, I'm excited to use that energy to discern what is for me and what isn't for me, and being able to cut away the things that don't belong, and really helping me to drop the people pleasing, which is really good. It feels exciting, although sometimes scary, right? We just can't control what others need. Uh, and at the same time, being able to then self-serve. How do we put ourselves first? So I'm excited to be doing more of that. And again, having Mars go into water for so long felt a little too damp, a little bit too slow for me. Yeah. It's wild as we get to know more and more about these transits and being able to dive into them and use them in a way for our self-care and for our self-development. So, yeah, it's been great watching you grow and to be able to step more into the spotlight and seeing how you can do these things. It's I think Mars can also help us as much as it's more of a Saturn trait, but it can help us to put the actions into place that we do need so that we can take those actions and we can feel more comfortable and confident about it, being able to ask what it is that we do need. So Mars can help us to do that, but it's just if we can slow down enough to find out. Yeah. Thanks, Zane.
Yeah, thank you for the share. And yeah, we're in take a little pause here to check in with our live audience here, unless you got anything else to add, Rochelle. But
Yeah,
before,
I do actually. I'm glad that you said that because I can see when, like with Mars, we want to check into our emotions. Are we being hot-headed? Can we drop sort of the identity that we think that we need to have? And then what is it that our heart wants? So as it approaches further and Mars does come back, or yeah, Mars comes back into Leo, is like really asking like what actions do I feel like I need to take for the matters of my own heart? And when we are in alignment with these transits, we could already be feeling that energy already. So I'm actually excited to check in with our live audience and see if there's been things like that surfacing for them.
yes, so check on those retrograde dates of October 5th to and be excited for May 2nd when it goes back over the degree that it retrograded on. And with that, we will be back with the body tool in a moment. And we're back from chatting with those that are live. Rochelle is now walk us through the body tool that we have lined up for what we feel is accurate that will help balance these energies that we are talking about. But before that, I think Rochelle has a little thought that she wants to add. Might be a big one. But before she gets into it, the body tool, take it away. What would you like to share?
You know, showing up live means that we get to have these surreal conversations. Ideas get challenged, ideas get accepted, maybe not. Maybe, not that there was a huge disagreement, but, if you aren't here live, you don't know what happens because what happens in the brew stays in the brew behind the scenes. And nothing feels better than to be able to create community and to have real life conversations and to feel like we're actually spending time together, even though we're on this sacred technology. Before we get into the body tool, I wanted to make sure that we had the dates for the new moon in Taurus. And this is going to be a great new moon for us in a way. Zane, would you say that it's pretty epic being able to have this new moon coming up on April the 27th?
Yeah, the new moon in Taurus and that piece of, yeah, getting that fresh start energy to this calendar year. This solar season within Taurus of being able to have a fresh start when it comes to building those foundations and finding that steady pace within Taurus season.
Mhm. Yeah. This Taurus new moon is really going to be about us planting seeds that create foundation for us. It happens on a 4 energy day. It's going to be something where we are talking about our values, our connections to the earth. So spending some time in nature, honoring earth is going to be a really good thing for us to do. And using the body tool that I'm going to share with in just a moment is going to have this connection and help us to break our goals down a little bit into smaller, attainable pieces. This new moon's really about us manifesting this abundance that we're wanting to have, the grounding and the stability, and of course, self-worth. So, really, what is it that you're wanting for yourself? This is the time for you to pay attention, dream big, and of course, speak your truth. Being able to have yourself connected, whether it be your relationship with money or just the energetics of your value and that you like to trade and barter, and giving yourself some space to practice the abundance. gratitude, being able to be in connection to like seeing all of the beauty and the things that are around you that create beauty. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So for those of you that maybe have an altar space or a place where you're giving offerings, the rose is a very great, cool offering, or giving offerings to roses. And again, please harvest in a respectful way and that you are, supporting those farmers, the people that are around you, or the ones that are local harvesting people too that have sustainable practices. More than ever is the time for us now to give grace to the earth and to give more back to her than we're taking. The full moon will happen on May the 12th, and of course, full moons are about celebration, aren't they, Zane?
Yeah, that celebration, that letting go what no longer serves us, that piece of also full moon is that piece of we can see in the middle of the night a little bit more, so might be highlighting a little bit more within certain areas of life, especially since this full moon is a Scorpio full moon. And Scorpio is about finding those truths and talking about those truths that might be laying in that murky water that we can't necessarily see.
Mhm. Yeah. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, so there's some magic, some death, some rebirth in it. This full moon in Scorpio happening on May the 12th is happening on an 8 energy day. We talked about the new moon, planting seeds for abundance. This is the time to let go of what's been holding you back from receiving abundance or appreciating the abundance that you already have so that you can really come into the truth that helps to set you free. And remember, the full moon in Scorpio is to honor the scorpion. So if there is any toxicity, overindulgence, things that are not bringing you into harmony with your goals and your values, this full moon will illuminate them. So be prepared for any overindulgence, things that might not be serving you when it comes to bad habits. Otherwise, you will be stung. I mean, that's not a threat, but this is really starting to take our credibility, our sense of self-responsibility to the next level, to really uncover the truths. And anything that has been, like I said, fears or toxic patterns and other old emotions that have been weighing you down. So let us know how you're feeling. This has been getting recorded right before the Libra full moon. Often we say what we need to deal with in Libra season. If it goes undealt with, we'll revisit and show us during Scorpio. So this is just something to have some fun with, being able to use the transits to your benefit. And with that, I believe that Zane will pull up a body practice. The intention here is for giving us some personal rebirth, giving us the ability to embrace our becoming and who we really are here to be, and to embrace that whole self in a way that can feel good. And that whole self isn't for anybody else other than ourselves, meaning no more people pleasing. That is done. As he's bringing this up, you can be focusing on, you know, your emotional healing being done in small pieces. We're going to get Zane to make that nice and big for us, making sure that everybody can see that. And as you can see, this spleen meridian is what we're bringing up for Taurus season. Spleen is about breaking things down into smaller pieces. You can see where this meridian starts. We were asked, are the meridians on both sides of the body? Yes, they are. So on the right and on the left, down at the bottom of your big toe, the invitation now is to make contact with your body if that is accessible for you. And starting to slowly go up from the big toe along the bottom and the ridge of the foot, sort of like kind of where the arch would be, giving yourself some time to really trace this line. It comes up through the midline on the inside of the legs and giving yourself just a few moments to really go slow, making contact with that line. It does come up through the center core, through the root chakra area, and it comes up through, goes a little bit wide as it starts to come up through the belly and the chest. And then, of course, it's, as you can see, to the armpit, and then it comes down under the armpit on the side of the ribs, right down to the end of the rib cage. So giving that some time, if it feels good to speak those words, I am possible, I am enough, I am powerful. You can create your own affirmations as well. As you trace this line, you might feel a pulsation, you might feel nothing, and that's okay. Whatever your experience is, this is what is all about yours. We're not dictating that you have to feel any energy, but some of you may have the desire to stop for a moment in a certain area of this line. This is really important for you to start feeling into this physical body and the electrical pulsations that it has from within. So, making sure you're breathing and tracing this line as many times as you feel called to feel a transition, a change within you. When we trace our meridians, it's important for us to set an intention. We can get better results out of it. And we want to hear from you. There is a point that you can rub once you're done that is only on the left side where the ribs are floating, sort of like between ribs 7 and 8, really at the end. This is the neural lymphatic point for the spleen. I want to give you a little bonus because my values are about speaking into education like this and also helping to bring you back to the body with body tools. So let us know if you have any questions there. And with that, you can stop sharing there, Zane. And let us know if you have any questions about that body practice. Also, there can be, if there's the cravings of anything extra sweet or wanting to go into some of the habits of using substance, the spleen meridian and that point between ribs 7 and 8 is a way that we have helped our clients to face addiction and to start implementing healthy boundaries, but also healthy habits for them to experience that whole being wellness that we're here to support. So, with that, Zane, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Mm, no, I would say that there isn't anything else that I want to add here. Just the piece of, yeah, those that have shown up live, those that include you that are watching the replay. Thank you. And yeah, I don't know what else to add besides continue on with closing thoughts.
So good. We appreciate you being here. One of the things that we're excited to share is that we're now offering a monthly membership, and we'll put those details down below. This is something where you can get 2 little voice notes a month on transits of your choice, being able to use them with your chart. You get access to our partner ESP Wellness Learning Centers, Learning Library, where you can start to learn your energy medicine journeys, more tools, more body tools. Each time that we're here together on these calls, we're just sharing just a little tidbit, something for you to play with, being able to feel into. With that learning library, you can start to really dive into more school, more skills and tools. It's like a little mini school in there. And then, of course, you get our brew basics, so you can start breaking down the meaning of your chart and start to really hone into your own self-study. So we're excited for that. We'll put a link down below. And for those that are ready to do that, it'll be there for you. And again, it's so fun. We'll be here again next month. I believe it's already posted.
May 8th is the next date that we are having our gathering,
Mhm.
where we will talk about Gemini season and those upcoming energies that are happening there. The link will be in the description down below. Somewhere easy for you to find your spot within the gathering here live so then you can see the in behind the scenes as well.
Yes, and be a part of those active learning style conversations and get your questions answered right in real time with us. Thanks again for everyone being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and following along this journey as Zane steps further into his leadership, which is also fun. And for me to really allow for some space for growth and connection. For those that are here, we will spend a couple more minutes with you here answering any other questions. And again, thanks again for being here and for watching. If you found value in the content, make sure to share it with others. And we appreciate you so much. So much love.